The clean leather boot begins with a dead animal and a smell nobody puts in the advertisement. That is the first lie of leather. By the time it reaches a gentleman's foot, it looks polished, expensive, respectable. But before it becomes a boot, a belt, a saddle, or a book cover, it has to pass through you. Today, you are a tanner. Your job is to take a fresh animal hide, still carrying the memory of the animal, and turn it into something society can proudly wear without thinking about what it touched first. By the end of this day, you will understand why this job was not just filthy. It was the art of taking something that wanted to rot and arguing with it for months. This is worked to death. We do not read history from a safe distance. We step inside it. And today, your job is to stand between civilization and decomposition with a knife, a vat, and absolutely no escape from the smell. Your morning begins at the edge of town. That is important. The tannery is not in the nice part of the city. Of course it is not. Respectable people love leather, but they prefer the place that makes it to stay far enough away that the wind has to make a decision. You know you are close before you see it. The smell arrives first. Rot, wet hide, lime, old urine, smoke, bark, animal fat, stagnant water. A full committee of bad ideas having a meeting in your nose. People complain about the smell of a tannery as if the smell is being rude. The smell is not rude. The smell is honest. It is the rest of society that has decided boots are elegant and the process is none of its business. You enter the yard. Hides hang from beams. Some are stiff with salt. Some are wet and heavy. Some look like they are still considering becoming a problem. The master points to the fresh hides. That is your breakfast. Not to eat. Relax. Though honestly, after 3 hours in this place, your nose may resign and your stomach may stop participating in government. The first hide is heavy. You drag it to the beam and spread it out. It is slick. It folds badly. It does not behave like material yet. It behaves like something that recently had opinions. Your job is to remove what leather does not need. Hair, flesh, fat, membrane, anything that reminds the customer this was once alive. That is the magic of the tannery. Not making leather, making everyone forget. You take the curved knife and begin scraping. The blade drags across the hide with a wet sound that feels personal. Again and again. Hair loosens. Fat comes away. Your arms start to burn. The hide resists like it is offended by your plans for its future as footwear. A cobbler will later call this fine leather. Very poetic. You currently call it the thing fighting you on a wooden beam. Then comes the soaking. The hides go into pits and vats. Some are soaked to loosen hair. Some meet lime. Some meet fermented urine. Yes, urine. Historical industry had a beautiful talent for discovering the most disgusting possible solution and then making it economically necessary. Fermented urine produces ammonia, which can help break down the things you want removed. That is the polite explanation. The less polite explanation is that somebody, somewhere, looked at a bucket of old urine and said, "Gentlemen, I believe the future of fashion is in here." You lower the hide into the vat. The liquid moves like it has secrets. Your hands go in after it. There is a moment when your skin touches the mixture and your soul briefly tries to leave through your ears. But you keep working, because the city needs leather. Soldiers need straps. Riders need saddles. Workers need shoes. Books need covers. Gentlemen need belts to hold up trousers they will wear while complaining about the smell from your district. A society can pretend tanning is dirty until its own shoes fall apart. Then suddenly you are a craftsman. Very convenient. By mid-morning you are scraping again. The hair comes away in clumps. You push the knife carefully because cut too deep and the hide is damaged. Press too lightly and you do nothing. Take skill. That is the insulting part. This is not stupid work. It is precise, physical, patient work done in conditions that make your entire body wish you had chosen a career in being chased by wolves. A boy carries another bucket toward the vats. You do not ask what is in it. You know better. As a rule, if a bucket in a tannery has no label, your nose will identify it before your eyes do. The master tells you to move faster. Excellent. Because what this place really needed was more urgency around knives, rotting skin, and chemical soup. Be honest. If someone told you your job was to stand in old urine, scrape dead hides, and call it skilled labor, how long would you last before suddenly discovering a deep spiritual connection to farming? No heroic answers. Everyone respects leather until it starts looking back. Near noon, the yard warms up. This is terrible news. Cold stench is unpleasant. Warm stench becomes an argument. The vats begin to breathe. Steam rises. Flies gather as if invited to a festival. The air thickens until every breath feels like you are chewing the room. You try to eat bread. The bread tastes like tannery. Everything tastes like tannery. Your hands taste like tannery, which is impressive because hands should not have a flavor. After the hides are cleaned, softened, scraped, and insulted by several liquids no decent person would store indoors, they are prepared for tanning. This is the long part. The hides go into vats with bark liquor, rich with tannins from trees like oak. Layer by layer, soak by soak, the hide slowly changes. Raw skin becomes leather. Something temporary becomes durable. That sounds almost noble. Do not be fooled. Nobility, in this case, is a pit full of brown liquid and a man leaning over it wondering whether his clothes will ever be socially acceptable again. The process can take months. Months. You may start with a hide in spring and still be arguing with it when the weather has changed. Leather is not made quickly. It is persuaded, bullied, soaked, stretched, scraped, and threatened into usefulness. And every stage has a smell. Some smells are sharp. Some are sour. Some are ancient. Some smell like the earth opened a drawer it should have left closed. By afternoon, your arms shake from scraping. Your back has become a legal complaint. Your fingernails are dark. Your apron is ruined in ways language cannot fully support. Then comes the part that separates beginners from men who have stopped believing in clean futures. Baiting. Softening the hide. Historically, dung could be used for this stage because the bacteria and enzymes helped prepare the skin. Dog dung. Pigeon dung. If you are waiting for the elegant part of the job, I have devastating news. This was the elegant part. You work the mixture into the hide. Your hands press it in. Your mind steps away for a moment to protect itself. Somewhere, a wealthy man will one day stroke this leather and say, "Excellent quality." He will be correct. That is what makes it worse. The final product may be beautiful because the process was horrible. That is the secret hiding in many respectable objects. Beauty often arrives late and pretends it was never carried by filth. You rinse. You scrape. You stretch the hide on a frame. You inspect the surface for damage. You learn to see leather before it exists. That is the strange pride of the job. You are not just a victim of smell. You are good at this. Your hands know pressure. Your eyes know texture. Your body knows when the hide is ready. And still, no one wants to stand near you. By evening, you leave the tannery yard and walk toward town. People see you coming and adjust their path. Not dramatically. That would require honesty. They simply drift away, as if the street has become interested in another direction. A woman covers her nose. A man looks at your boots, then his own, and makes no connection at all. That is when you understand the real shape of the job. Everyone wants leather. Nobody wants the tanner. The soldier wants his straps. The rider wants his saddle. The merchant wants his ledger bound. The gentleman wants boots polished so clean he can see his own importance in them. But none of them want to imagine the vats, the urine, the dung, the rot, the scraping, or the man whose hands made the dead skin acceptable. You reach home and stop before the door. For 1 second, you wonder if the smell has followed you or if you have become its carriage. You wash. The water darkens. You wash again. The water still has an opinion. Your wife opens the door and pauses. Not because she does not love you, because love also has limits, and apparently one of them is fermented hide water. Very romantic. Very traditional. Only at the end of the day do you understand what the job really was. Not scraping. Not soaking. Not even surviving the smell. Transformation. The tanner took death, rot, hair, fat, urine, lime, bark, dung, time, pain, and skill, and turned them into something society could admire. That is why this was one of history's worst jobs. Not because leather was useless, because leather was useful enough to make everyone ignore what it cost. Polished boot is not clean because it was born clean. It is clean because someone else stood in the rot first. Put your answer in the comments. One tannery, one vat, one hide that wants to become a crime scene. How much would it take? If your honest answer is absolutely not, congratulations. Your nose has excellent survival instincts. Subscribe, like the video, and leave a single heart for the tanners who turned rot into respectability so everyone else could walk away polished. Costs nothing, but it helps bring the next worst job back from the dead.